Good. Do we have a forum?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so I'll call the meeting to order. If you would join me in, oh, you want to do the roll call first, Lynn? I'm sorry.
Yep. Kathy McCoy,
Present.
Gary Hilgendorf,
Here.
Mark Helwig,
Here.
Michael Savitsky,
No.
online. Elaine Smith. Here. Katie Bellinger. Ryan Reed. Tweed Schuman. Lorraine Gouget. Andy Alvarado.
Here.
Jeff Johnson. Bruce Paquette.
Here.
Doug Motek.
Here.
John Yankel.
Sure.
Sure we have a forum?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out of 14.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, thank you very much. Join me in- Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And do we have certification of compliance with open meeting law?
This meeting has been noticed to the public and news media as required by section 19.84 of Wisconsin statute.
And the meeting agenda, I can't talk today. Is there any changes or any reordering that anybody wishes? If not, we'll move on. Public comments. Is there anyone from the public online or in the audience that would like to comment? All right, then, people of the minutes of the previous meeting, I think everybody should have them and read through them.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, to approve and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Opioid settlement update.
No real updates on the securitization. The county board hasn't made a decision. We've left our name in as being interested in it, so we continue in the process. We'll be able to drop out if we decide to not want to secure the payments as far as taking a lump sum up front. Otherwise, no additional details on that have come out. But we did receive, which we knew we were going to receive at least one payment before the securitization was available. So we did receive a payment of $20,134.97 last week. That's been put into a segregated account because we have to track that money as we allocate or expend it. Probably will get another payment scheduled to be $21,161 before the end of the year.
Anyone have any questions on settlement? Thank you very much.
Oh, quick question.
Sure.
Do we have anything right now that we're planning on using the money for?
Nothing's been committed to.
Thank you.
Just maybe additional comment to the county association. There is, we're told, a county association event on August 22nd. Don't have any real details. I guess there's some details or not, but it's the county association is holding an opioid epidemic abatement summit. So probably on the settlement and discussing potential activities related to the use of funds.
Did we get an email on that? I don't recall.
I don't know. I got an email on it. I'm not sure if the board members did or not.
Where is that located?
It's gonna be in Stevens Point.
Oh, no Zoom? Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't look like it.
Mm.
And when do you have to register?
I'll forward this out. I'm not seeing. There we go. Just came, the details just came out yesterday.
Okay, yeah.
It doesn't have a date to register by. It just has an advisement to sign up soon because next one's gonna be a large turnout.
Yeah, if you could forward that to the committee, that would be great. Okay. Moving on, we have the TAD grant update.
So Andy and I met, we're still, the grant is due next Friday on the 19th. We still don't exactly know which priority we're going to apply for because it's determinant on whether or not we have a judge. So we fit best into priority 3, but that's if we have a judge as of January 1st. We also fit into priority 4, which is the enhancement and expansion. We get more money out of priority 3. So I guess, what it's not up to us necessarily, but we're looking for guidance.
So we need to have a judge that's on board, in other words, by January 1st of 2023 or
Correct.
24.
Or just a name, actually name, or actually,
Somebody that's willing to sit on treatment plan.
So they have to be committed, so they have to sign on.
Or it could be the family court commissioner. It could be somebody that's willing to do it.
Could it be the tribal judge?
It could be.
I don't know if I would have the time to do that, though. It depends how much time.
Well, it depends on how often we determine that we want our treatment court to meet.
I mean, I'd be willing to help out until you get somebody on board. But, because I've had all the training, but drug court is different than going to bonus court.
So what we're really looking for is kind of a stopgap until we get our second judge, correct?
Correct.
Right, and supposedly we're supposed to have our second judge by,
Next summer.
Time next year.
so you'd be
Summer.
looking at, right, just so we could get somebody in that position. Or be willing to say they'd be in that position until we get the second judge.
we're not gonna know the guy's name until next July.
Yeah, maybe the timing is that they'll be. They'll have to have nomination papers in by first week in January. Yeah. Then there'll be a primary, and then the general, spring
April.
general election, and then it'd be seated August 1st.
It's a long process.
Yeah, it's.
Yes, I had to talk to the district court person here last week and he said at some point, the chief judge will send a notice to the elections commission to the county that there'll be an election for the second judge. That should happen pretty soon.
I think it's important, that you get started as soon as possible. Because otherwise you're missing the opportunity to get some money from the TAB grant.
What is the difference between number 3 and number 4 in terms of dollars? Question.
Well, it's between $25,000 and $50,000 per year.
Additional that we would get if we were. And the enhancement grant is to continue basically kind of what we're doing or to.
And like, if that's what we're applying for now, again, the wellness for, we're applying for an enhancement grant. Because our dollars from the first 4 years are coming to an end, and so we're looking for another year on enhancement dollars. And so that's probably similar to what that is.
It's similar. The problem with that is it's basically to continue what you're currently doing. And we're not
doing it.
really doing much. We got a planning grant last year, so we're just starting.
And it's due August 19th.
Next Friday.
So your recommendation is if we could find somebody who would be willing to commit for that, that we apply for the number 3, right?
That would be my goal.
So we need the judge to commit.
Well, the judge
would
isn't
be-
going to commit. He already has said that.
Judge Yam.
Our judge won't. I'm talking about the LCO judge.
Well, it sounds like it could be a family court commissioner or somebody else too. It doesn't
Somebody who's
necessarily,
qualified,
right?
correct?
But they would have to have the training that you're
They have to
speaking
have
of.
the training, yeah. What do you think, once a month?
If that's what we agree to, then that would be,
It's doable. I would have to, I'll run it by the tribal council. But, yeah, I could probably commit to that. Because it doesn't really take a long time, but drug court again is different, and it may run for half a day.
Depends on how many participants, you know, and we can state that at first, you know, we're taking this many participants
And you have to have all your
in
staff,
that first year.
you know, the people that are gonna monitor your participants. That's where a lot of work is.
Right.
Well, and if you could do that, that'd be wonderful, because then by the time the second judge does come, the system would be in place, like you said, with the staff and would be started at least versus starting from scratch. The only thing I wonder about, what if we get a second judge who refuses to participate?
We don't have, I should say that, we have to get a drug court. That they're gonna get ordered by the district to participate, one or the other.
Okay, so then that shouldn't be an issue. One of them will have to.
Yeah,
step
one
up
of them
and
will
do it.
have to.
Is Sawyer County the only county in our area that doesn't have a drug court?
I don't know for sure. I know that Washburn,
It sounds like it.
Barron, Ross.
Can't believe that.
I don't, Price County didn't have one.
Didn't we used to?
Okay.
Just
Just curious.
is doing.
Everyone.
We are kind of behind the times.
We didn't have enough participants for a while, it just didn't work.
Hmm.
All right, so I'll say that. I'll help out with them.
That would be wonderful, because that just keeps us moving forward, and it's so important that we are able to do that, so. Do we need to do a motion to make a recommendation to the county board then? And I think we probably make a contingent on finding, making sure you're available, or if not, some other court commissioner, right? That we recommend.
You need a name, don't you?
We
Don't
to
you
have
need a
somebody-
name to put it on this grant?
Becky and I met, I was tasked with setting up a meeting with the judge to tell him that we're going ahead
Mhm.
with it with him.
Yeah, you didn't seem too
And
happy about even doing anything with the way I got the last time. you-
yeah, so that's why I talked to the district, to Chris Channing, the district court, and verified that part of the contingency with the second courtroom is that we have to move ahead with the drug court. So he's gonna push that. And yes, I think we all heard Judge Jackson say that there will not be a drug court until we have a second judge, because he does not have judicial capacity to do it otherwise. So
It's a lot of work.
it is, and so at least we're gonna talk to him and say this is what our plan is, and
And if the county board votes to do it, then.
yeah, I don't think the board's gonna have a problem with that, but I wanna make sure he knows ahead of time that this is the direction.
Right, whether he's keep him in the loop, but
Yeah,
you don't want to play.
So I would entertain a motion then, to recommend that we apply for option number 3, I guess contingent upon having a eligible person to fulfill the, required, I guess, is it judge, or is it's not called a judge necessarily?
Yes.
It is, yeah, okay, judge, to, move forward with it. So is. someone
I'll
wanna
second
make-
that.
I can't make a motion.
Oh, you
So-
can't? Oh, it sounded like you just did.
I was
Okay.
just saying, this is what we want in the
Oh.
motion, I believe, right?
So, are you the LCO judge, ma'am?
I am. Yes.
Okay.
Judge Smith.
So would I be wrong in saying that for going ahead with it with your,
Just be contingent upon finding a judge, so then she's been kind enough to offer, but
A contingent on the tribal governing board giving the go ahead too.
okay,
yeah, you can't.
I make a motion to approve going ahead with option number 3.
Correct.
For the grant. Contingent on the LCO tribal council approving the judge.
Their just participation as the
acting
acting judge.
in that interim period.
In the interim period, from January 1st to August 1st, basically.
And it might make it easier for whoever's gonna be the judge to come in, and there'll be a structure in place.
Right.
And I think it would be a lot easier, because I know when I came in for the Human and Wellness Board, I had to hit the water well, and it was just starting out, so I had to learn a lot of stuff.
Well, and I think then also we'll have some staff and kind of the flow, I mean, what we're gonna be doing, well. Yeah, I think you're right, it'll make it much easier for a judge coming in, right?
So I talked to other drug courts and so counties doing the same deal. How they're set up.
Okay. So we have a motion, to recommend option number 3 for the CAD grant to the county board, contingent upon, Ms. Smith
Industrial tribe.
acting as the judge in the interim from January 1st to August 1st, as approved by the tribal council, correct?
Correct.
Is
Got
there
that,
a
Lynn?
second to the motion?
I'll second that motion.
Okay. I think that was.
That was Marshall Savitsky.
Okay, we'll give it to Marshall, okay. All right, Lynn, do you want to read that back to us to make sure we got it correct?
Motion was made by Mr. Howard to apply for option number 3, contingent on the approval of the tribal council approving Ms. Smith to sit on the position temporarily from January 1st to August 1st.
To be the drug court judge, right?
In,
Are those dates
rather than
right?
this position.
Those dates are right. Okay.
Is there any further discussion on the motion?
When will you know whether or not you've been approved for option 3?
I believe November 1st.
And
Right,
we can
right.
stretch you later than that. Because August 19th is, that's like the preliminary.
Correct.
In November.
And I think a lot of January and February just kind of be getting things up and running, so yeah. Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? Yes.
Question, you mentioned staffing, is that something we'll have to?
Justice Point is ours. So we're part of their contract.
Thank you very much.
And we're gonna have staff the second judge when they come, and the courtroom's gonna have to be staffed.
Oh, yeah,
So that's gonna be within the budget that's coming up, I assume.
should be.
Should be, has to be almost.
I have to have your health and human services people.
The, I don't know.
It's heavily
I
monitored.
was told that the second courtroom is gonna be staffed by the same people we have.
And they are,
That's the way the budget's going in right now.
I want to know what they're smoking. I want to know what they're smoking. You think they can do that?
We got very qualified sheriff's department.
Oh, yeah, they can do it. Sheriffs, yeah, because they can bring in people all they want.
Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Hi.
Opposed? I guess that means the motion carries. All right, Matthew didn't show up again this month.
Yeah, he's online.
Oh, good, okay, my apologies. Matthew, I think is with us from Pathways Home Program. So you have the, floor.
Okay, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, perfect. So as has already been said, my name is Matthew Philippak. I am the Pathways Home to Reentry Career Coach for the Northwest Wisconsin Workforce Investment Board. So Pathways Home is a grant-funded reentry program. The grant goes for 3.5 years with 2.5 years of enrollment, followed by 1 year of follow-up. We're currently about 3/4 of the way through, so we've got 1.5 to 2 years left to go. Our goal is to get 200 participants in northwestern Wisconsin. We currently have 38, 12 of which are out of Sawyer County. This includes both people who have exited from Sawyer County Jail, as well as people who've left DOC facilities and live in Sawyer County. Currently, we're working with the Department of Corrections, so that's DOC facilities all over the state, and they're just people are exiting to this region. But we are also actively working with jails in Ashland, Bayfield, Burnett, Price, and Sawyer County, and currently talking with the jails in Douglas and Rusk County to see if they want to get on board. They weren't originally signed off on the program, so it's taking a little bit longer to kind of see if they're interested. So the goal of the program, there are 2 big goals. The first one is to reduce recidivism and also look for long-term stable employment for individuals post-release. So In order to qualify for the program, and I should mention that I can send out informational material after this, so don't feel the need to take notes on all of this. So in order to qualify for the program, people have to be returning to Northwestern Wisconsin. So that's Ashland, Bayfield, Burnett, Douglas, Iron, Price, Rusk, Sawyer, Taylor, or Washburn counties. They have to be currently serving on either a conviction or a probation violation. So what that means is if someone is currently sitting in jail to await a court date, we can't help them. But if they have a probation violation and they're serving for, say, 23 days while also waiting for a future court date, then they would qualify for the program. So they also have to have between 20 and 180 days left on their sentence, eligible to work in the United States, and be signed up for selective service if applicable. So the things we can do, we offer both pre-release and post-release services. Pre-release services are going to be creating an action plan so that people kind of have an idea of what they should be doing when they get out. And this is kind of looking at the situation that they're exiting into. So, you know, if they've never held a job for longer than a year, or if they have issues with transportation, or if they say because I know some people who they want to go work at, say, a lumber mill, but they don't have clothes for it. So now we know that we have to purchase them clothes when they get out. So just kind of getting an idea of their needs and what their goals are. Then we can also offer career exploration services. A lot of people I work with, they haven't held a job except for, say, fast food and retail. And I mean, those jobs aren't terrible, but they're not necessarily long-term stable jobs. So part of this program is helping people kind of think about what they want to be doing long-term instead of just thinking about the next week or month or year. We also help them find secure employment because a lot of people have a hard time filling out job applications while incarcerated. And we meet at least once a month, sometimes more. It depends on how much I'm traveling in the area. Then we have post-release services, and we have money to help individuals with education. So if someone decided that they wanted to do, say, welding, we could help them get a welding certification. But anything short-term, so welding, construction, CDL, we can also help with on-the-job training or apprenticeships. And then we also have money for supportive services. The way that I tell my participants to think about supportive services is if it is something that is stopping you from getting a job or getting to your job, we can probably help. There are certain things we can't help with. We can't help with fines or insurance that you need in order to get an occupational, because those are considered part of the punishment. And so we can't take away the punishment. We can only help with barriers that happen as like an incidental, I guess, would be the way to think about it. So what we can't help with is like transportation, so gas cards or car repair, work clothes, tools. In extreme cases, we can help with rent, either with down payments or like a month of rent. Yeah, like I said, if it's stopping them from getting to work or getting a job, then we can probably help. It's pretty flexible. And then part of the reason why I'm speaking with you all is because I understand that I've only been doing this for about 3/4 of a year, and I'm based out of Ashland, Wisconsin. I'm not even from Northwest Wisconsin originally. I came up here 5 years ago 8 years ago. I graduated 5 years ago, 8 years ago for college, and I've just stuck around. So I don't know the area nearly as well as most people. And one thing that I've found really helpful is talking to something like probation agents, because they know what services and organizations are out there that can help people who have been incarcerated. So just kind of opening up those ways of communication so that you guys know that I'm doing this, and maybe if there are any resources you can help with, I would love to hear it. And that goes for, you know, issues with housing or any employers in the area who are particularly inclined to helping those who've been incarcerated or are currently incarcerated. And then the other reason would be referrals. So like I said before, people with probation violations would qualify. So what some of my counterparts in other regions are doing is probation agents are just kind of flagging them and letting them know like, hey, Jeffrey just got a probation violation. He's going to be in jail for like 23 days. So here's his referral. You can go talk to him. And then normally that would be really difficult for me to do because it's just within that window of 20 days. So if people are on top of it and giving me this information, then I can go in there really quick and see maybe what the cause of his probation violation was and if there's anything I can do to help so that that doesn't happen again. Yeah, does anyone have any questions?
Yes, I think Marshall has his hand up.
And I do.
Marshall.
I do not have a question. I don't know how my hand got raised. Sorry.
Is that the mouth? Yeah.
There it goes. Okay.
I,
Okay,
Is-
yes, go ahead.
is there counseling in this program?
So I don't provide any counseling. I have noticed that individuals who are incarcerated, because I don't work, I'm not employed by the jail or employed by the government. So a lot of people see me as someone that they can talk to, and I will refer them to counseling sources.
Anything in Justice Point?
That we refer to,
Any counseling within your program for the,
we refer out for counseling, we refer out to outside sources.
and then I guess who would pay for that?
It depends on what they have for insurance,
So they pay for it.
or we get them signed up for.
Hopefully some sort of insurance. Okay. All right. Thank
Who's
you.
our representative on the committee from probate Department of Corrections? Katie. Katie? Okay. Have you had a chance to work with the Sawyer County Corrections? probation
Yes.
Officer Katie?
I think so. I don't have my notes from that on me right now, but I did meet with Sawyer County Probation a couple months ago.
Have they been referring any people to you or?
I've not received any referrals. They have helped with local resources, and one issue that we run into is people are a lot harder to track down outside of jail than in jail. Go figure, it's a much bigger area. But because they're obligated to report to the probation officer, I can always talk to their probation officer and just say like, hey, have you been talking to this person? What contact information are you using right now? So I've been getting help from that.
Okay, and you have been up in the Sawyer County Jail, I take it, right?
Yes,
Because you were here before our last meeting, correct?
yes.
Okay, and I don't know how that's working in the jail in connection with the lieutenant or in connection with you, Doug, in terms of,
He comes in regularly.
he does.
Mhm.
Okay,
He was just in on Tuesday
okay.
and I met with 5 people.
Okay, all right. So we are getting some contact through the jail then, right? Even if not through probation.
Yes, yes, the jail's been very helpful.
Okay, okay. And you're looking, how many clients do you have right now?
38. 38.
38 total, 18 out of, or no, 12 out of Sawyer County.
Sawyer County, and your 200 is what you can have the capacity or have the funding for?
That's your goal.
Yeah, that's my goal. If I can get more, that would be great. I won't turn people down at this point.
Okay, and the grant is for 4 years?
3.5. It's more like 2.5 because after the 2.5 mark, I won't be doing any more intake because I'll be focused on that year of follow-up post-release.
So how far are you into the grant then?
About 3/4 of a year. So
Oh,
I've got about
there's
2
lots
years.
of, so this is just getting, so we have lots of time to try to get people.
Mhm.
Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming to the meeting and giving us the information. It sounds like it's got a lot of potential, that there's money there and that we could be funneling people into it, so.
Mhm. My pleasure. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to email me. I was emailed the link to this meeting, so you should be able to find my email there.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much. Okay. Moving on, we have the CJCC bylaws approved 6.2. And then we have the authorization resolution, and I think we just put that on there to review the bylaws. If anybody thought there should be any changes, additions, or whatever. I took a look at them. The only thing that I see that I think would be important would be to have a representative from Health and Human Services on our board.
Hmm.
I think that
Very
is
good idea.
key. Health and Human Services is going to come into the picture more and more. Julia, you're online, and I think that's, you're here also to address that, or you're willing, either one of you are willing to serve as that representative if.
Yes, and I'm, Julia is on, and I believe it was going to be her to be the one
Okay.
to sit. I'll be in attendance with her to actually
Okay,
sit.
all right, so, yeah, so this has been kicked around before, I know, and I think we have somebody who's very willing to sit on this board, who would be a great asset to try to tie us into the Health and Human Service Department, which really needs to be done. So that was the only thing that I saw in the bylaws that I thought should be different. I don't know if anybody else saw anything that.
I didn't get to read the whole thing. I did find one type of word that should be added
Under,
under Article 2.
okay,
I think it should be adopted by both the CJCC and the County Board of Supervisors,
okay, yeah,
but I didn't get to read the whole thing.
5. Okay, so we'll just add 5, that's just, yeah, it's a correction. And then I guess my other thing is, we have 2 tribal government representatives. Should we put in there one of which will be the tribal judge? Or do you want to just leave it open-ended for 2 tribal representatives? I think having the tribal judge is a very, very good thing, but right now, the tribal council, I think, appoints, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they did.
so I don't know if we want to specify.
If we can specify it, unless a
Well, it
tribal
would be any
council,
tribal, whoever the tribal judge is.
right?
But maybe the tribal government would rather just have it be that they appoint 2 representatives, just like the county board appoints 2. I think that's where that came from.
Okay.
All right, so we won't go there. Anybody else, anything? Yeah,
I had just kind of wanted these looked at in part because I agreed on the human services, getting them involved. See that as a big missing piece, and public health is interested, so I think we should take advantage of them being interested or participating. The other gaps I saw with human services is we spend a lot of time talking about mental health. We have no human services involvement on the mental health side. And the other missing piece is nothing really to do with youth, which are part of the criminal justice system as well. It's potentially a youth justice person that would have some knowledge about what's happening with them. Alternatives for youth offenders or how we're handling them.
I agree on both of those.
great. Health and Human Services. Who is doing juvenile now over at Health and Human Services? I know Dave retired and.
It's Carla McKay.
It's under CPS,
Okay.
but I'm not sure who our youth justice person is. Carla.
Carla.
Okay. So I mean, by tying into Health and Human Services, we kind of get that component also. And the only reason I think they're excellent ideas. If the committee gets too big, we're gonna have problem getting quorum. I mean, this has been an issue, even like today, we're barely making quorum. You know, so the larger you get, the harder it gets to make quorum. And that was an issue years ago when we first tried to get the CJJ up and running. We had 20 people in a room, and then we could just never get organized, you know, just too many people and too much. So I think they're excellent suggestions, but I think, I mean, definitely want to add Health and Human Services as far as I'm concerned. I think we can fold the other components in through Health and Human Services if we can establish a good relationship with them. And I think Julia is willing to do that. I think Carla would be willing to work also with us. Other people's opinion, I mean, it's just my opinion.
So Kathy, you're just saying add on the document itself, just add
One
Kate,
representative from Health and Human
and then
Services.
the other gal will just kind of go with this.
Yeah, she works in Health and Human Services, Carla does.
Okay,
So, I mean, that would be the juvenile component.
okay,
Um, unless you specifically want to add whoever is, you know,
no, I know what you're saying, that and it's big and we can't perform, so as long as they're willing to work together and we get that component
I
in
don't
for
know, would there be any
There's
other person
mental health.
anywhere with that would fill that juvenile component, like you said? Are you thinking more of like maybe like a person who is a juvenile, or are you thinking,
you know,
work in the program? Right? Yeah.
yeah, we need some, yeah.
Like juvenile justice person. Would that necessarily
Is-
be? Carl?
Deidre would have been, is what I would have been thinking, that you said she retired.
Yeah, but Carla, I know Carla. Carla
Okay.
is, yeah, absolutely fine. She's, yeah.
So I guess, do we want to put that first, both of those on the roster or?
Yeah, I guess that's the question. I mean,
Yeah.
first off, is everybody in favor of adding health and human service rep to start with?
I think so. And actually, if you had. You could add two and then. You had one, it changes the core number. If you had two, it doesn't.
So you could have two from HHS.
And then you could add the,
If you go to 14, it's 7. You have to actually, it's 8.
So would you have to put on there the department instead, or just say
you put
two
one
for each? is just-
representative from health and human services, and then two representatives of health and human services, one of them being the juvenile
Juvenile.
coordinator, right?
Okay. Agreed? You didn't give me any real.
But we have to have, what's the vote we need? 2/3 of the majority vote of voting members. See, so that, I don't think we can, oh, that's removal, I'm sorry. And
Three-quarter majority.
of the appointed, so do we even have 3/4 today? We don't, do we?
You have to have that.
We have
in order
8
to
out of
add-
14, so we don't.
Kathy, you're saying we have to have that in order to add
in
people to
order
the
to-
list? Okay.
Amend the bylaws,
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
so we don't have that today.
You need that 10.
So we'll put that back.
So I think we'll put it back on the agenda for next month. And notice that maybe when, you know, possible action, adding 2 representatives from Health and Human Services, one of them being the juvenile coordinator. And that gives everybody else a chance to read back through this again, just to see if there's any, I didn't really look for typos either, so just to see if there's anything else that we need to clean up or correct. I guess the other thing, and maybe we should address this too, is, you know, unfortunately, the judge never comes to our meetings. And there is a provision, obviously, within here to remove a member from the committee. I would not want to do that, but I don't know if there's somebody else in that office, like you said, a court commissioner or somebody else that the committee could be working with if the judge is too busy or doesn't want to or can't come to the meetings. Is that a possibility? Do you know?
It's possible. You'd have to change the bylaws so it says judge.
Right, exactly. Right.
Or we suck it up. You have 2 judges.
And then hopefully get another judge.
Or you could add or designate.
Right, that's what, yeah.
position.
And that way, if he's too busy, it gives him the ability at least to appoint somebody who maybe could show up on his behalf.
So just leaving it as a judge right now?
No, like
Um,
Ms. Smith said,
Oh.
adding it or his designee,
Oh, okay.
which means then maybe you could get somebody else. Something to think about, I guess. We don't need to act on it. We can't act on it.
That's
So,
a little, so I don't know how I feel, because it's a little different, like the sheriff has designees that
I
have
know.
some, so does the district
Mhm.
attorney has ADAs. The judge doesn't really have that.
Well, and I think it's very important that that position's in here, obviously, too. I'm not trying to undermine that. Okay, any other discussion on either one of the documents that we talked about? We'll move on to community services updates. Here you guys both.
Well, there is an opening at the men's house now, so, but there's people in line to come in. And the good thing is they're waiting for the cement guy to come in, but they're gonna get the shop up here and the money is just about all in for that. And that would be good. And we're working with someone who's gonna be hopefully helping us train people in the trades, which is a very exciting thing. And so some real good things.
Good deal. How long is your waiting list?
I think they've got 3 people on it right now and there's 1 opening, so. Yeah, so
Jerry, what shop are you talking about?
they're building a 34 by 40 shop right behind the existing house over there, the parsonage. And it's going to house a workshop with wood, and then there's gonna be a garage stall in there where hopefully they can either work on cars or welding or different things. And that's pretty neat. We just had a guy from a university call us that wants to do that.
Oh.
So anyway, so that's kind of.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, we're meeting with him either the end of next week or the following week. So anyhow, there's some real forward progress there.
That you want to hear progress.
Yeah.
You have a lot of support from the community and
Huge support. It's really encouraging. How many people are behind it and stepped up to, pay for that building.
that's great.
And yeah, it's almost, I think we're 10,000 short right now, so 90,000. So
It's great.
yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of, and we were looking at another building, but our board didn't feel it was a wise time to try to get too much going at the same time. So
So maybe after the shop's done.
after the shop's done, yeah, then, and what's really neat too is to see guys going through the program that have really, that are now becoming a part of the staff and really doing well.
Yeah.
So that is,
It's nice to see them out in the community. I know a couple of them and it's nice to, yeah.
and in fact, I was at Perkins this morning and one of the ones from the ladies shelter was applying for a job. And there's already one from the guys at Perkins already, and the community businesses have been
Oh, I'm sure.
so supportive. In fact, they're calling, asking if we've got, because they don't have enough workers.
Mhm.
So it's good to see. And obviously, there's always those challenges too that we have to deal with.
Yep. Anybody else have anything on any community programs? I think next month they're gonna do a presentation on the reading program that you guys have going on in the jail. So,
Literacy link through
Yeah.
Northwoods Tech, yep.
yeah, so that sounded like a great program too. Hopefully afternoons are working out a little better. People participating. No.
So that's actually a different one. than
Oh, that's a
this
different one.
Yes,
Okay, so
that
this
was
is-
through
okay.
UW Extension.
Okay, so how is that one going?
That one is going much better now that we're doing it in the afternoon.
Good.
Yes.
That's- Nobody likes to get up in the morning. including me, right?
You gotta get up anyways.
Yeah. Okay, does anybody else have anything on community service programs? Right, future agenda items, anything else anyone would like to see on the agenda?
I think we were gonna have a follow-up from public health. Julie's comments last month. I think we plan to have that. Regarding the research into the opioid.
Okay, oh, into the settlement, right, so what they're kind of looking at, 'cause they're getting money.
Health needs related.
That would be great.
Did you give an update Becky,
So,
on the Rise 22?
I did not.
Do you think that's important?
Always have to-
Yeah.
Put that on also then.
What was it? Rise 22,
Oh.
Rise is
Oh,
on
yeah.
caps. The conference in Nashville that we're going to. 2 weeks ago.
So were you?
Yeah.
The largest addiction conference in the country. 7,000.
You know, big church.
Really?
Huge.
If you look in the back.
Okay, yes, that's fine. Okay, anybody else correspondence, reports, conferences, meetings, other matters? I think we'll have a report on the conference next month. Meeting time for next month.
Thank you very much.
Same time. Everybody going
We
to,
want to make sure we get a lot of people, so, we've been doing the second Wednesday. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Second Wednesday, so
What date is that?
it's the 14th. Everybody else, is that good with you, Doug? Second Wednesday?
set a recurring date of the second Wednesday?
Why don't we set
It
a,
helps
that's
the-
good.
it helps the calendar.
It makes like
Yeah.
your life easier. Yes, let's do that. Yep. Okay. So we'll do 12 o'clock. We'll always have it be the second Wednesday unless we decide something different.
14th? Is that?
14th, right?
All right, thank you. C. J.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody else. For
All right.
coming out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.